We are back, vlog number 7. It's 9th of December, Thursday, 2021. So today I'm gonna touch up on some questions I had before, and then I'm gonna break down of the improvements I have made so far, which have been quite interesting. So I had some questions, which one of them was, what have I sacrificed to improve my sleep? And this is a tricky part, because I would never use the word sacrifice for something that improves my health and everything else. So I didn't sacrifice anything. I ditched things that were distracting me. So not checking my phone obviously is one of the things that I really don't do anymore. And I got back into habit of sometimes picking it up. So as we speak, after 8 o'clock in the evening, no chance you will be able to reach me. Nobody, literally. And I've got back to that habit, and my sleep improved straight away. Another thing what I wouldn't do is not eat close to bedtime. So my last meal would probably be around 8 o'clock in the evening, whereas before I would eat massive meal before bed and then try to sleep, which doesn't really work. This is funny because whilst I'm speaking about that, I had someone in a gym telling me about how their metabolism is slow and they can only eat at night. And I'm like, well, you can't eat in the morning because you're still full of food. You don't digest much whilst you're sleeping because your body is trying to sleep. And I used to do this weird things that I need to eat a lot at night and I just need to eat 24/7. Nah, it doesn't work like that. And I only started to do that when I actually came to UK. Back home, I never did that. My biggest meal would be my breakfast and post-workout meals. That's about it. And I usually would eat only just 3 meals a day. A few reasons for that. First one, I didn't have money to eat. Just simple as. And the second one, I was never at home. And takeaways and things like that were not a thing back home in Latvia, especially when I was living in a little tiny village. You either eat at home or you don't eat. Simple as. And third, I didn't really like anything that was on a go kind of stuff. So I would have to have my food cooked. So that would require me going home, which I didn't really do much because I was always doing something. Learning, hanging out with friends, training. And lo and behold, this is why I think so many people are overemphasizing everything else apart from training when it comes to strength and performance. Strength and performance for me is skill-based thing, and you can only improve your skill by practicing it as often as you can, not by eating a food. You're not gonna get better at squatting by eating big bowl of fucking, I don't know, rice. It's just not gonna happen. You need to squat, you want it or not. So I have not sacrificed anything for sleep. If anything, I have gained more time, more clarity, less stress, all those kind of things that improve my sleep. So as a rule of thumb, after 8 o'clock, I would usually do something or work on some books I have. So fill out some things that is focused on reflecting on my day. I'm still kind of giving a stimulus to my brain, but not in a stressful way. When I talk to people and tell them, look, you need to rest, you need to chill out so you get into your parasympathetic state and whatnot, I do not mean lying on a sofa checking your Instagram. That is not resting. It's triggering. It's putting you under a lot of stress. You think you're sitting down and doing absolutely nothing when your brain is in overdrive. And this is why so many people are restless, anxious, stressed, and so on and so on and so forth. Ideally, I am working on developing specific times when I'm checking what. So when I'm checking in with my clients, I have specific days, specific hours of the day. When I'm getting in contact with my family, specific days, specific hours. When I'm working on myself, when I do my workouts, when I eat, when I do whatever the hell I want else, I have specific days and specific times. And sticking with them, having those habits, help massively. And yeah, that's not a sacrifice. I haven't given up on anything for my sleep. I have improved my life, and therefore I sleep better because I'm just more relaxed, more chilled, and more conscious about what I do now is actually helping me, rather than just draining the hell out of me by doing things that are completely irrelevant. So I hope it makes sense, because the language used is something I would not use anymore. Probably 5, 10, 15 years ago, yeah, I might talk about like, yeah, you need to give up and sacrifice and this is how it goes. I'm like, no. Now, like, okay, what will I gain by improving my sleep? Well, if by improving my sleep, my appetite will increase. I will be more productive. I will be much stronger in my training sessions. I will have less inflammation markers, because those things are important. Not only inflammation markers on my muscle, but also inflammation in my brain that's being produced when you think, believe it or not. And yeah, so probably changing your language. Every time you want to improve something, never think about that this is something bad and this is something you're giving up on, rather than focus on what's good about doing the thing that you think you need to be doing, and your perspective and your actions will change. Second was why I'm doing cold showers. Again, changing the states, changing myself from being stressed to being calm. If you notice, when you get in a cold shower, you will really deep breath, and you can meditate, you can achieve same exact state, but I do prefer cold shower instead. Kind of wakes you up, and at the same time it chills the hell out of you, because your blood vessels will open, your blood flow increases, and all those kind of things, purely for health benefits. Sitting in a hot shower, it does not sit well with me, because I just feel like I'm depriving myself from doing something that can help me chill out and be more present with myself. You know, it's at that point when you're in cold shower, you won't be thinking about anything else. A lot of people will go in the shower, I had a hard day, or reflect on everything like that. Scald yourself out under cold shower, you'll forget all your worries right away. So just little tricks that I use that help me. And these are the habits that I stack on each other that help me in long run, just to maintain, how someone described me, completely insensitive. Probably was the description. I don't remember what precise sentence was, but basically that I don't give a fuck, which I don't. Because why would you? Like, what are you worried about? Literally, we're all gonna die sooner or later. So worrying about something is just a waste of time. Focus on something good that you can create, that you can do, that you can be part of, instead of thinking about some marginal bullshit that helps no one. Last but not least is what do I think about chronometer instead of my fitness pal for tracking food, because it tracks your vitamins, macros, this and that. I don't like it because it tracks overall kind of macros and vitamins and whatnot. Yeah, you can go and skim through meals, but you always look an overall thing anyway. And I'm not interested how much sodium I take in overall or how much potassium I take in overall. I'm more interested in timing. And that to me is just a habit that I know before training I need sodium, after training I need probably more potassium. Then later in the day, if I have high carb meals, I'll have some chromium. Then early in the day, some NAC and TUDCA or things like that. It's completely irrelevant to have more tools than it's necessary for me, because I have reflected on my diet ever since I bloody know myself, reflecting on diets. So, and I've never stopped tracking my food, if that makes sense, because I don't mean just tracking it on my fitness pal. I mean writing it on notebooks, what I do, how I feel, and then after each training cycle, I compare how I worked on each nutritional approach, and then just take the good out of it and ditch the bad out of it, ditch the inefficient things out. To track specifically something is not necessary, because I'm pretty much eating same every single day. I'll have some off meal plans, but even they are planned. They are not just like random crap. So yeah, for me, it's just an informational overload. Just by giving a software that kind of power makes me avoid ability to learn which food has what, which I think in the long run is much more beneficial. And that's why restricted amount of information that I can get from those softwares is a bit better for learning in the long run. So yeah, and I'm gonna get into feedback of my week. Let's drill into my training at the moment. So my training has spiced up a bit to describe it vaguely, but yeah, another 3 weeks are fairly intense, but at this point they get easy now. 100% if I would have done on my first week what I do now, I would die. There is no question about it. Bear in mind, I took 2 weeks of training completely. So my resting heart rate went up from 46 beats per minute to 68, just because I gained 20 kilos. And now I'm back down to 50, which is good. So lost 18 points on my resting heart rate. And my blood pressure is always stable. I gave blood, so I'm starting on low dose on like HRT, and see if we need to build it up somewhere. So natural testosterone will be in a check, and some no 19s because of my training style and because of how well my body responds to that. I've actually trying to, like, how can I even say that for this to not sound wrong, is I never rated DHTs, and I've only used them higher than usual over the last 2 years, and that definitely has affected me in the ways that I don't like. So I'm just gonna stick to what I like. It doesn't sound right and whatnot, but I know what works for me because I have been tracking it forever. And why change something that agrees well and sits well and doesn't cause any issues down the line? So we're just gonna go with that. My food intake is low for me, and it's only 4,500 calories, which is usually by book what I should be having. At the same time, when I train for hypertrophy, 4,500 calories is nowhere near enough. So obviously my training volume and frequency is way lower than when I do hypertrophy training. So hypertrophy training, I would do God knows how many sets, how many reps, and my training sessions sometimes will last 2-3 hours. Not smart, not ideal, but my body can tolerate that. Rarely gets sore anymore. And so yeah, and if you feed yourself with enough food and sleep well, that's only gonna help you. But at this point, my training is completely different. My training is more towards building a skill. As we progress, it's also building strengths. And I know my next training block, which is gonna start in 3 weeks, is gonna be flipping immense. And I got 3 weeks to build my strength endurance and my overall fitness up to tolerate what's coming. And yeah, when I look at it now, it's a bit scary, which is exciting. And yeah, definitely 6 weeks ago, I wouldn't even be able to do what I do now. And now it feels like a finished training session. I am spent, so to speak, but I could maybe push a bit more. But I never train to failure. So I never try to reach failure at the moment. I'm always trying to make sure that I do the job, make sure that I have done more than previous week. And at the same time, I'm not being overexcited by trying to push way too much than it's needed. So my weight increments would go by 10, 20 kilos, on legs probably 80, 40 kilos, because my legs have been extremely powerful. And now it's just adjusting the movements. So on a leg press, for example, My left knee was a bit weaker for a while, but now I can do nice 400 kilos for really clean reps, no issues whatsoever. Full power, I can do 700 kilo leg press for 12 reps and whatnot. Squats, we'll see how far I get there because of my nerve damage I had, but I can squat 150 without pain, which I haven't been able to do since 2014. So that's quite cool. But at the same time, kind of a sidetrack. If you want to build big legs, squat is probably the poorest movement there is. Like, you can tell me whatever the hell you want. Fact is that risk-reward ratio is piss poor. Leg press is far more superior in terms of stimulating just your legs. What people don't understand is that they don't do leg press correct. They overload your spine and knees and God knows what else. Their ankles are not flexible enough to even do leg press, and I don't have any issues in mobility and structure. I'm perfectly built for weightlifting, and I have worked on my ability extensively to stay that way. Whereas if you go on a squat, you will be challenged in every single way. So the overall fatigue from a squat is way bigger than actual amount of intensity you put on a muscle. Compared to leg press, you can do leg press all out until your legs feel like absolute trash, and you will recover from it 10 times quicker than if you do something similar with squats, because squats involve everything: your core, your shoulders, your elbows. A lot of people will suffer tendonitis in elbows just from squatting because they never stretch their forearms. Do your bloody mobility work. Do some kind of light work on your elbows, on your forearms, to avoid inflamed shoulders. Because when you put the barbell on your back, this causes a lot of stress on your elbow. And if your forearms are not flexible enough, very, very, very soon your elbows will start to ache like mad. And then, we obviously can fix it with shockwave therapy now. A lot of people still don't know what the hell it is. I have been using it for years. But I have acknowledged what causes my joints to inflame, and I just avoid that by doing extra mobility work. And this week we're throwing in chiropractor and soft tissue release as well. So I haven't had done massage for a while. First one was last week. This week is second one. I'm going to be sticking to it at least once a week now. I understand its expense. I have worked extensively to be able to afford these kind of things. So improving my value in what I do as a job. So I can look after myself first and foremost. And chiropractic I will be probably doing every 2 weeks now. I have been doing it every month, every 6 weeks. When I just started to do it again in UK, I was doing it every single week for 6 weeks, and then I was doing it once every 4, once every 6 weeks. Now, as I progress, and progression will be quicker, the first 6 weeks, I need to make sure that I look after myself a bit more diligently as well. So chiropractor will be done every 2-3 weeks now, and if needs be, maybe even weekly. Quite expensive thing, but we'll see where it goes. So as food stands, my main priority is getting 300 grams of protein a day. That's below obviously 3 grams per kilo a day. That's above what is kind of needed. At the same time, I do feel if I go below 3 grams per kilo of my body weight, my skin texture loses quality, hair gets thinner, and all kind of things. So like I said, I got so much things I can look back and compare that I know exactly what works for me. So for me, at least 3 grams per kilo is a sweet spot. I have been on 5-6 grams per kilo and I looked absolutely insane. But it's a hard work, it's very expensive, and it's not my goal at the moment. My goal is not to be the biggest there is. My goal now is to be the healthiest I can be at my body weight. When I finish this training cycle in 12 weeks, I will be transitioning into hypertrophy, and at that point I want to be very strong, very fit, very mobile, and completely injury-free. That's the goal. And enjoy the training. I really enjoy training at the moment. I think it was at one point, it got a bit like quite hard because I was just running on dust, but introducing some supplements for recovery, I completely eliminated that, and it's just fun now. Like going into gym every single day, and as soon as I hit those weights, like this feels flipping amazing. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna extend this any longer, but as always, drop questions in comment box underneath. Try to avoid sending me private messages because I'll be honest, it's very hard to follow them up. I have so much garbage in my inbox that oftentimes I don't even check it. And unless you are someone whom I work with directly, who have specific messenger app just for me, I might end up ignoring you. Not on a purpose, but just because your message gets lost. So, but I do appreciate everyone who's commenting, liking, messaging me, and all those kind of things. If I can help to anyone with anything I share, it's great. My goal is just to show, look, stop focusing on one thing, and if that one thing is that you want to focus on, that should be health and and longevity. So pick one. You can't help both, really, to be honest. Longevity in high level athleticism is not the same as health, and vice versa. But at the same time, I'm not gonna slow down in trying to maintain my body weight and whatnot. And it will be interesting to give a bit of push of my body weight later on. But as it stands, next year I have a lot of things planned out that are in front of me. It's 12 months of intense personal development whilst trying to maintain what I have. If I'll be able to build any kind of size above what I am now, that will be massive achievement. For me, I'll try to maintain as much as I can in terms of fitness and strength endurance, because I know that some weeks throughout the year, once every couple of months, I will have to take a week of training and do very extensive kind of cognitive work, which might deplete me, and I might have to be set back in terms of my physical performance for a couple of weeks at a time. But I'm ready to and willing to take up the challenge. Never know, I might be crazy enough to even compete end of the year, but as it stands now, I don't have any idea of, or I don't even want to, because I have more exciting things on my mind to do. But yeah, on that note, I'll finish this and I'll chat to you next week.